Put the Brakes on Fatalities began here in Kansas, now a national program, in 2001, and the idea was the idea of KDOT retiree Larry Emig. I saw Larry here earlier. Larry, stand up. Thank you. His goal was a day without traffic fatalities across the United States. With 429 traffic fatalities in Kansas in 2016, and an average of 35,000 traffic fatalities a year across the U.S., it is a big deal.
January 2008, my life was going really good. I was a 4-time champion. I've won the race out here at Harlan Park at Top Fuel, was a track record holder, won 30 national events and championships, and life was really good. And then January 26, 2008, I got the call that my 2 teenage boys were killed in a car crash. Like, wow, how could that happen? I must be the most unlucky guy in the world, right? Well, I didn't know at that time, as Secretary Carlson pointed out, how big of a problem that it was. And in fact, in 2008, car crashes killed more teenagers than the next 4 things put together. But the fact is that life is all about making decisions, right? And as parents, we're making decisions for our kids. And then one day, the taillights go out the driveway, and we got to hope that our teenagers are making good decisions for themselves. Obviously, my son John made a very bad decision that day, and it had a lot of repercussion and caused a lot of pain and grief.
Going on a curve, passing somebody, going 75 or so, and I hit some standing water. And I can immediately feel my wheel just no traction whatsoever. I try and get control, and it's going off, and I'm drifting off the road. And I get into the grass, and I remember thinking, like, well, this isn't good. It's gonna be really annoying getting back on the road after this, after I had to stop. And I look up, and there's 2 trees about 100 yards in front of me. And I remember registering, it's like, I'm not gonna miss those. And when I finally start, it stops, and I can look up, there's an emergency worker coming over, and he said he saw me crash. He was going the other way, and he turned around. And I'm looking around. He's trying to get some stuff sorted out and to help me out, calling an ambulance. And I look around. My front window's gone. My driver window's gone, and I have a little bit of scrapes. I'm hurting a little bit, and I remember thinking I must be in shock right now. I'm way too calm. I went to the hospital right after. I didn't even have a concussion, and I was shocked. My aunt had to come pick me up. Probably not the best morning for her. And she went and talked to the road crew and asked, and they told her that the glass was flung 50 feet in front of the car. And that would have been me if I hadn't been wearing my seatbelt.
In a rural farming community, teens drive at an early age. High school sports practices after school mean that they're driving to and from school every day. In 15 years, 5 students in our small high school, which ranges 75 to 80 students, lost their lives in car accidents. My daughter, Courtney Faith, and I were ready for a weekend visit with her sister, Ellie, in Manhattan on Friday, February 27th of 2015. Before I left for school, I popped into her room. She was packed, and she was so excited to see her sister. We talked and laughed for a while. I kissed her damp hair and told her I loved her, and then I left for school. Courtney had a cup of coffee with her dad in the kitchen. They visited. She wasn't in any hurry. She had plenty of time. She was a very cautious driver. Courtney always wore her seatbelt, and when she was riding with me, she would scold me as I put on lipstick while driving down the road. But something happened on her trip to school that morning. Within a half an hour, my husband and I were standing by the edge of a field, staring in disbelief at her upside-down pickup, only a couple miles from our home. Rescue workers weren't doing anything to free her from that vehicle because it was already too late. Although Courtney was wearing her seatbelt and her phone was safely tucked in her back pocket, she became a statistic. Another teen fatality on Kansas roadways.